Good afternoon. I am calling to order a regularly scheduled meeting of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee. My name is Elizabeth Glidden. I'm the chair of this committee, and I'm joined today by Council Members Fry, Council President Johnson, and Council Member Andrew Johnson. As we get started, I have two additions to make to the agenda, so I will read what these are and then move to amend the agenda. Currently, we have item 1 is comments relating to Crown Hydro that would be submitted relating to the Public Utilities Commission. Item 2 is an amendment to the federal legislative agenda. I'm going to put item number 3 would be a resolution opposing gun, conceal, and carry reciprocity laws. And then item number 4 is an amendment to our state legislative agenda. And Councilmember Cano may or may not be here for that, but I think between staff and myself and possibly Councilmember Fry, we can discuss what that is as well. And it's a proposal to add to our support agenda around bonding support for the Family Partnerships Project. So I will move to add the agenda to add new items 3 and 4 and change the state, federal, and local updates to item number 5. So I have moved those items. Discussion. Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We have a new agenda. Item number 1, again, is regarding Crown Hydro.
Madam Chair and members, Gene Ranieri from the Director of Intergovernmental Relations for the city. This is a request allowing the city to submit comments to the Public Utilities Commission regarding a matter that they have posted on the website and in a docket that's asking for comments regarding a grant that was given through the RDF, the Renewable Development Fund, back in 2002 and has not yet been expended. There was legislation passed in 2017 in this Minnesota legislature that basically allowed the PUC to recover grants from the RDF fund that had not been used in the 5 prior years. So older grants where there was no money, there would be withdrawal. They're asking for comments on that. Many of our colleagues along the river have submitted comments. Many of the associations, foundations, elected officials have submitted comments saying that the PUC should take back that money, and we are requesting the authority to do something similar. Mr. Corey Conover from the City Attorney's Office is here to do more detail if you require.
Thank you very much. Just to allow us to get started, I will go ahead and I'm not seeing any immediate request for further briefing. So I'll go ahead and move this item. It is authorizing proper city officials to submit reply comments to the Public Utilities Commission on behalf of the City of Minneapolis, recommending support of the position of the Metropolitan Council and other entities that the RDF grant awarded to Crown Hydro in 2001 be considered expired and the grant be terminated. Is there a discussion on this motion? I'm not seeing any, so all in approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that item is approved. Next, we have an amendment to our federal legislative agenda with regards to the city's position on federal tax code reform. Mr. Bauer.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. We have the tax reform package is going through. It's passed the House of Representatives. It's currently up for debate in the Senate. We have some more detail on it, and so we have an addition to our federal agenda with a little more specification of what our interests are in any tax reform package. We would amend the agenda under discussion of the U.S. tax code by stating, quote, the City of Minneapolis supports federal tax reform that reduces individual tax burdens and provides taxpayers with incentives such as credits and deductions to save for retirement, pay for higher education, purchase a home, and support state and local government services. The city also supports a tax reform bill that retains tax-exempt private activity bonds and low-income housing tax credits, which are major funding sources for the construction and preservation of affordable housing. Historic tax credits, which not only preserve the nation's cultural and historical landmarks, but can also preserve and develop housing. New market tax credits to assist in financing projects that increase employment in the economy, and tax-exempt municipal bonds that maintain and improve state and local government infrastructure. That stand for any questions?
All right, so Mr. Bauer has read the recommended amendment, which you can also see in the body of the request for council action. As we, I guess, know from listening to the news, this is a constantly moving target, but a lot of concerns about what may happen with tax reform and our inability on such short notice to fully understand the implications to everyday people. And so this is one way for us to get at least some of our principles on the record right now in this important time. So I will move approval of this item. Is there discussion or request for further information? Seeing none, all in approval, please say, Council President Johnson? Okay. All in approval, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, and that item is approved. Next, we have the new item number 3 that I added to the agenda. It is a resolution that is authored by Councilmember Gordon, and I said that I would be willing to move this forward on his behalf. This was came to our attention as part of some groups around the country who are working on these types of issues, and I know that our staff has reviewed this for accuracy and to ensure, anyway, that we can feel confident around the information in the resolution. I'm kind of looking out there, but I think that that is accurate. There is a resolve clause that the City of Minneapolis opposes H.R. 38 and Senate File 446, which is the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act of 2017, and calls on its representatives in the U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate to vote against these bills and to work with their colleagues to oppose these bills. And I will go ahead and move this, but if people would like some more detail and or more time to look and read the resolution, please just let me know and we can pause and make sure you have the time to do that. All right, folks are fine. I will go ahead. This is and move approval of this item. Discussion. Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, and that item is approved. Next, we turn to new item number 4, which is would be an amendment to our state legislative agenda and policy positions. And I will go ahead and read what this is. Folks may have questions. Again, Councilmember Cano is the one who has recommended bringing this forward, and Ms. Lesh may want to give some general comment, but I'll maybe give a little bit of context from my perspective as well. So this is an item that would read in our legislative agenda and policy positions, add number 5 to our current bonding list that would read number 5, $10 million to transform a vital crossroads in South Minneapolis to house the Family Partnership's 36,000 square foot headquarters, along with a child care facility, a behavioral health clinic, a center for healing and empowerment for victims of violence and sex trafficking, and space for training and community gathering. So I might invite up Ms. Lesh. I will just note for the committee, the Family Partnership has had an outstanding request for a couple of years now. The Family Partnership is a long-standing nonprofit with that provides service, including to victims of sex trafficking, and does great work all across the city and really across the region. They did, even though they weren't on our formal bonding list or on the county's bonding list, were part of a bonding tour that we helped host for legislators along with other partners. so had an opportunity to describe their project there, and I believe they got some cash last year. We have not supported nonprofits on our bonding list for several years now, as we've been trying to kind of work through some challenges, I think, that exist in the state bonding process with how does it work for a local jurisdiction to be the fiscal sponsor of nonprofits. And I think Ms. Lesh is preparing probably for very early in the next term some recommendations, more structural recommendations for the new council and mayor to consider on how we might start to reincorporate nonprofits into our bonding list if they may meet certain criteria. But Ms. Lesh, maybe you can talk a little bit about this project and just what do we know about where it's at and so forth.
Certainly, Madam Chair, thank you. And council members, Madam Chair is correct that we'll be coming back to council in the new term with some suggested structural processes that you can use going forward to evaluate in the future when we have nonprofit organizations that approach the city requesting for fiscal sponsorship. As we've noted before, nonprofits are not able to access general obligation bonds through the state on their own. They do have to have a local unit of government be their sponsor, and that's the role we will be serving in with the family partnership. As part of the criteria that we would be suggesting when we're evaluating future projects is really a whole host of aspects, but several that would apply to the family partnership. That there is already some money that's on the table, that the state has already committed, that there's a long track record in the community. There is a lot of outside financial support. This project really has a lot of momentum right now. As the chair noted, the family partnership was successful in securing $1.6 million in the 2017 legislative session in cash. So they were able to access those funds to begin their pre-design and design. And the legislature is, as you can imagine, loath to invest $1.6 million in pre-design and design and not continue to then follow up with actual construction support for a project. So we think that they're well positioned, they're well on their way, they are a tremendous community partner, and so that is why I think it's before you today to be added to our bonding list.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Lesh? Not seeing any. I'm going to go ahead and move and then see if there's discussion on this item. So I'm going to go ahead and make the motion to add this as an item number 5 to our current bonding list. Any discussion on this? Council President Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And, I don't disagree at all with your characterization of family partnership. And I was trying to remember what their previous name was, which they did long-standing work, and I just can't think of it. But, yeah, it'll come to you.
It might have been, was it Reuben Lind? Were they Reuben
Oh,
Lind?
yeah.
Yes. Yep.
No,
So,
Well, they merged. They merged.
Yeah,
Yep. I'm encouraged by the fact that we now, I do believe, have a policy in place too about requesting if we do act as a bonding fiscal agent for these projects, we're going to try and recoup our administrative costs, which is a big part of the deal too. That we were doing all this, work for free, and at least we have a plan in place now for getting staff time covered. Again, it is also always just a challenge for us with the bonding list, but which project is the most important and all that sort of thing. But at least we have a little bit of a pared down bonding list, so I'm encouraged by that too.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, and that item is approved. So finally, we have some time if there is a federal, state, or local update. Mr. Ranieri.
Madam Chair, I just want to make you aware of 2 issues that are coming up next week. The MMB, the Department of Revenue and Management and Budget, will have the revenue forecast for December. And that'll be really important as we plan for the session and think about the bonding bill. And that'll be on the 6th of December. On the 5th of December, there's a tentative scheduled meeting of the Sports Facilities Commission, the Legislative Commission on Minnesota Sports Facilities. And their topic is safety and security for the Super Bowl. And some of our folks have been invited. Some folks from other agencies have been invited to the meeting. It's not sure it's going to happen, but it's been scheduled, and there's no agenda yet published yet, but we have some people who've been asked to be there. And that'll be at 3 o'clock on Tuesday the 5th, I think, over in the Senate office building in St. Paul.
All right. Council President Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do they, would they do that in open session, or do they ever, does the legislature ever go into a closed session? I don't even know that.
Madam Chair, Council President Johnson, I've never seen I think they can go into closed session, but I don't remember ever it happening. And that's one of the concerns is what can we say?
Yeah.
And that's what everyone's talking about right now.
Okay. Well,
All right. Any further discussion? Well, I'll just note that we thank the Intergovernmental Relations team for their great work in 2017 as we close out the year. And thank you also to all my colleagues for your great participation. We thank you. And we're going to say a fond farewell to our clerk, Diana Armstrong, who is going off to some very new and different pursuits, helping with her grandchildren. And so we're very happy for you. And I believe with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much. Oh, Mr. Ranieri, did you?
Madam
I'm
Chair,
sorry.
on behalf of all our staff, we want to thank you all for your help and activities over the last several years, and to the chair, Council President Johnson. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.